Do you have beverages?
I have 2. Yep, I do. Electrolytes and water for right now.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Friend for the Long Haul. I am here with my friend, Katrina Dreamer, my pacing buddy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you should go listen to the other 12 episodes that Katrina has been on, where we just make excuses to hang out together in various virtual rooms. How are you, friend?
I am all right. Yeah, not great, not terrible.
I was going to say, that was not wholly convincing.
Yeah, I mean, the world is a dumpster fire, so I'm as
Yeah,
good as I can be in those conditions, I guess, is what I
fair.
would say. Yeah.
Fair. We talked about recording this episode a while back when I was telling Katrina that the previous episodes of the podcast I have loved because it's been collecting stories and building an anthology of the events that led to people getting COVID, having long COVID, or adjacent type disabilities and illnesses. But this season, I really wanted to talk a lot about the way the last 6 years have forced so many people with chronic illnesses and disabilities to bend themselves around this timeline that is on fire. And how do we survive it? How do we work? How do we function in society? How do we move through society and try to maintain our health in a world that wants everyone to forget that anything bad ever happened, and then also doesn't believe half of the things that we have going on are even real? So you have been, and this is something that I'm always in awe of and fascinated by when people start their own businesses, because the idea of it to me is terrifying because I'm I am a risk taker in some ways, but I could never take a risk solely betting on myself.
Mm,
I just don't have that amount of, I guess, I don't know. I don't know what I would call that, but I think that I've always been so scared of messing up or things not working out. Or Devin and I were talking last night. Devin is my husband for everyone who doesn't already know. And we were talking about how we're both Capricorns. And it's not that we need to be right, it's that we need to not be wrong. And that's an interesting distinction. And I'm always afraid of failing. That's why I have never been able to.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
but I have failed myself in many ways by not doing it because I continue to allow myself to be used and used up by capitalism. And that's a really weird place to realize I am at 4 minutes and 18 seconds into chatting about this. So, how did you, what led you to being a business owner yourself, in business for yourself, and how did that evolve over time?
Yeah. Well, my working history is pretty interesting, but if you're neurodivergent, it's not gonna sound that wild. You know, I've changed careers multiple times. I started out in journalism,
That
and
was my dream.
I really thought I was gonna be going for a Pulitzer, because of course I couldn't just be a journalist, it had to be that. Um, but soon realized that my emotional being is not cut out for that work.
Mm.
I had to cover some really horrible things,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then discovered that every newspaper, or maybe not now with cuts, I have no idea, but then in the '90s, they all had psychologists or psychiatrists on staff that you could go talk to if you witnessed something really terrible.
Oh,
So, I didn't see the crash, but I had to cover a multiple fatality crash on I-25. Uh,
eek.
at, 20 years old, 21 years old, like, I had never seen anything like that, and I came back and my editor could just tell I was not okay. So I went to the person. Anyway, journalism didn't work out, and the thing I always said when I was, like, 5 years old is that I wanted to either be a writer or a teacher. So I got my teaching license way back in the early 2000s and quickly realized that classroom teaching was not for me.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I figured that out back then. If I was doing that now, there's no way. There's literally no way I could do that job now. But I it was actually me realizing I didn't wanna be somebody who was just making good little citizens who didn't question everything and didn't, like, just listen to whatever authority figure, like, that was just grossing me out. So then it was kinda like, "Well, what the hell am I gonna do?" If I'm not gonna be a classroom teacher, I'm not gonna be a journalist, like, where do I go with things? And for a little while, I thought I was just gonna focus on, uh, freelance writing and working on I started working on the picture book stuff that long ago, like 2004. But, you know, a lot of things happened, and, um, I went to grad school and was working at a library, and all of these things were kinda part-time, like, I had partners where I could not have to have a full-time job, like, we were making it work, scraping by with our 2 part-time incomes, and eventually, I went through my first divorce, and I don't know, felt like that was my midlife crisis, but who knows, that could still be coming. I got back from this big kind of pilgrimage type trip in Europe and had no idea what to do with myself. So it was kind of some digging around, soul searching kind of stuff that was happening, and I figured that maybe having my own business was going to be the thing and that it was going to be tutoring because I'd done tutoring starting in 2000. I worked at like a Sylvan Learning Center for a while and like moved my way up to be a director and just always knew that that wasn't going to be the forever thing. And I just don't like working for other people. I don't like having a boss. I don't like people telling me when to be somewhere and for how long, and I want to make my own schedule. So it took a couple years of a bit of flailing, to be honest, before I figured out what if I really did this as an official business because I was doing tutoring uh and was just making money part-time but not as an official business at all.
Mm,
Um and like I think back to that now and I'm like, how did that how did I do that? Was I not declaring that money? Like I literally don't remember. I'm sure I was somehow or some way, but it wasn't under the umbrella of a business.
mhm,
So I was lucky enough in 2013 to get connected with a nonprofit in Oakland where I was living that was doing basically like a crash course MBA for women. I no longer identify as a woman, but at the time I did. And so I was able to take advantage of that.
take that money.
And so I went into this program that it was very intensive. And I think it was maybe 4 months or something like that. And
Shit.
learned how to do all of the things that someone might go to school for an MBA, thinking about uh, all of the back end business stuff that I can't even get my brain to say the words about because I literally hate it and I don't, my brain doesn't think like that. But lots of spreadsheets, lots of planning. And then I finally did it. Like I filled out the paperwork to have a business and That was 2015. I said 2013 is when I started the program, which I guess is a lie. Must have been 2015. Anyway, all I know is that I quit working for anyone else in 2015, and I have not worked for anyone else now
Wow.
for 11 years. So, yay me. Now the thing to
Hey.
know about my business is that as our mutual friend Lissy has recently said to me, I basically have a job that's keeping me afloat. It's like it's not a business how other people would think about a business. I don't have employees. I don't have a lot of money in the business. I couldn't like sell the business and make a ton of money or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like it's literally just keeping me afloat. Although I am working this year with Lissy, plug for Lissy, uh, on building it into something that is having employees and, uh, yeah, so that's a big focus of my year. I don't think I've answered your question yet, though. I've just told you my history of working so far, but I think a lot of that is important because,
It is.
you know, I only realized very recently that a huge reason for wanting to be self-employed because I'm chronically ill and disabled, which
Right.
I didn't even give myself those identities until maybe 2021, 2022.
Dang. So back around 2013 to 2015, we're keeping it open there because we're uncertain.
Because I think 2014, I don't know. I really d yeah, that window is when it happened.
But were you just thinking like this'll I can do this. This is gonna work for my life as it is right now. You weren't connecting. I feel like shit. I need to be able to do this on my own
No,
terms.
I don't think that I really was. I knew at that point that I had endo because I had gotten diagnosed with endo in 2009,
Mm.
which was in my early 30s, by the way.
So unfair. It's such bullshit. That
It's such
is
bullshit.
oh, I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah. So, I knew that I wasn't like other people, but I internalized that in a way of me failing in some way. I didn't have
Friend.
the I didn't have the language, you know?
Mhm.
And, being a former, like, straight A student, all of that, I was like, "Yeah, I just suck." I don't
Yeah.
know what it was about school. I was always good at school, but in the working world, I just couldn't keep up with everybody else.
Well, there's a different type of structure and it's easier to do things by rote, I think.
And
I don't
I
know.
I think, you do have to, like, show up at particular times for your classes or whatever, but I don't know, just that environment is different
And
than
maybe preferred versus non-preferred activities,
Yes,
especially
100%,
as
even though I was doing work that I liked, generally, most of the jobs I
mm,
had, I liked them, it was still like someone else was telling me to do this thing.
yeah, and it's still
I'd
work.
just get grumpy.
Whereas whereas if you love to learn, I love to learn.
Yes, I loved if I could get paid to go to school for the rest of my life,
Oh my
that's what
god.
I would do. That's what I would do, that's what I would have done my whole life, but yeah, so it's really interesting to see now that that it is because of chronic illness and disability that I've set my life up this way. And I set my schedule so I don't work before 10 AM. I am not a morning person, and I just don't do that. And, I'm lucky that I've been able to make it work with the tutoring work. There's definitely parents that want me to work at 7 AM. I just don't do it. This has been a learning curve too. I'm acting like it's just always been like this. But when I first started my business, I definitely, if people were asking for things, I would say yes. The people pleasing was strong.
Yeah.
in those days, and it's taken me until now, I mean, the course of those 11 years to figure out what is really working for me and what isn't.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
the way that you can best provide your students with what they need from you too. They could have you start at 7, but they're not gonna get what they need.
No, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine, and, when I started doing this work, I was living in the Bay Area, and I was driving 30 minutes between every student. I was
My
going
god.
all over the Bay Area from El Cerrito down to South Oakland and through the tunnel. Whoever lives in the Bay Area will know, like,
Mhm.
it's a ridiculous it was ridiculous, but I was like, "I'm fine. I can do this. It's great. Yep, I can do this." Um, but it wasn't until 2020, March 2020, like, everything had to pivot online, right? And I'd already been doing online tutoring before
Right.
that. So because I had students that I carried with me from California to Vermont when I moved to Vermont.
Ugh.
They those parents were open to still working with me even though I was gonna be online. So, it was very easy for me to change everybody over to online.
Yeah.
When I started to realize what that was like for me as a business owner, as a like, the kind of work day that I wanted to set up for myself, I was like, "Whoa, this is way better. I don't
Yeah.
have to drive a bunch of places all day. I don't have to sit in super uncomfortable chairs all day. Because you go to a school, there's not always adult-sized chairs,
No, that's true.
and they're hard plastic, and like, I was in pain a lot. I was in pain a lot. Either that or I was at the library. I also have mast cells, so dealing with everyone's fragrances all day and kids coming smelling like they had dumped Tide and fabric
Oh my
softener
gosh.
all over their heads or whatever. They're just like, I don't understand. But
Just the
anyway,
smell of schools I
well,
find disgusting
yes.
because
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
just like a
bleach and
million.
hot dog water and old fried chicken.
It's always hot dog water. Why is it always
I
hot dog
don't
water? It
because that's
is
how
what
they serve the hot dogs.
it is what it smells like, and the bleach. Yeah, 100%. So and then also screaming children. Like, a
Yeah.
lot of times I would show up at release and then work with a couple kids after school, So it'd be like
After
chaos,
school's the worst time to have to do tutoring for a kid too, I think.
chaos. Yeah, it was yeah. If they had a snack, it was okay.
Mm,
But,
same.
now you can see in the video that I'm sitting in this chair that I don't know, people have joked that it's like the captain's chair. It's like Picard or Captain Kirk or something.
Mhm.
What it is this giant zero gravity workstation, and it moves. You can recline back. There's the chair actually moves. I always have my feet up because I can't sit in a regular chair without being in pain or having my TBI stuff kick off.
Look how I'm sitting right now.
Yes.
I can't sit.
Yes. Yeah, I can't sit regular either. So, I was lucky enough to work with vocational rehab to get this workstation, and now I'm comfortable. What a novel idea that I'm comfortable while I'm working all day. These are the kinds of things that like, what school or what company would have thrown
Yeah.
down this for me?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how I would be getting by if I wasn't able to have all these accommodations for myself and have a
Yeah.
big window of lunch in the middle of the day and just all the things, and I'm
Yeah.
still working online. 100 I don't know how much longer that will last. I hope it continues to keep going on and on. Uh,
Ugh.
so, yeah, I mean, a couple of the things that are the most impactful for my work is that I've had 2 concussions, and I'm still not out of the woods of that. The last one I had was July 2024, and, it's yeah, we're coming up on 2 years of that. I'm still dealing with symptoms, and I don't go a lot of places. So, if I were gonna go back to my old model of, like, driving to schools or kids' houses or whatever, it's just not. That's never coming back. I can't do it that way ever again. I don't know, I guess I'd have to get an office or something and have people come to me. Then I'd be able to
Yeah.
control a lot of the things that I need to control, like, for airborne illness reasons and fragrance and all of that.
Yeah.
But
But only to a degree because people suck.
I really honestly don't know if I could keep doing it if I had to be in person, because as much as I
Mhm.
say things about the fragrance stuff, that is the one that just is not.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very challenging.
I
Yeah.
even struggle just, like, if I have to run in a coffee shop. Starbucks for me is actually the worst because they all smell like the panini presses constantly, like burning panini press, and it clings to me, and it
Mhm.
gets in my hair,
Yep.
and I get so sick.
Wild, isn't it?
But it was the same before I got sick, but I didn't realize that it meant that I had any sensitivities. I just thought places smelled bad, and I didn't understand why I'd get queasy.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, in the before times for
Yeah,
any illness, I think it's like you didn't realize that those things that were happening, you weren't connecting them. You start to make the connections and it's like, "Whoa." I was thinking about how much work I used to miss because of my endo,
mhm,
how
I bet.
much I would miss. I was out so much, and at one job, I even was in the negative, like, I owed.
I've done that. Yeah.
So, thankfully, I think I've had one of the best years in the last year of not having a lot of sick days, and I think that's because I've set things up in a way that works for me. So when I'm trying to just, exist in the able-bodied world and act like I'm not disabled, I can't do it. I can't do it. I have lots of migraine attacks, and, right now my endo is managed, but that doesn't mean that that won't change.
Yeah.
Um, and then the TBI stuff.
Yeah. And that's all stuff that I don't think most people. That's one of the things about chronic illness and disability that makes me the most angry is how much I have to think about that other people don't,
Mhm.
because there's always this underlying. Any of these things could kick off at any time. The endo could decide, "I'm gonna grow back," and you have no control over it, and it can go on for a while until you start to connect, "Oh, this hurts now. Oh, now I have this." It's just like me with. I realized yesterday, I think my iron is low again,
Right.
but when these things are making you feel bad and you already feel bad, you don't always stop to think about why you feel bad because you're so used to it.
Yes.
At the same time as having to constantly plot and plan how you're going to do this day and how you're going to prepare if it comes. And it's just that undercurrent of, I guess, never truly feeling settled or safe because you don't know,
Yes. Yes.
and how
I
that impacts your nervous system and perpetuates the rest of it.
yes. Yes. I'm having some twinges and things that I'm like, "Oh, great. Is the endo coming back?" That might be a whole odyssey for me if it is. And planning around there is so much juggling that goes on in my brain every single day. Like right now, I'm having to take an antiviral because I'm trying to get rid of EBV, but I'm doing it extremely slow because I have mast cell and I am reacting every time I take that pill 5 hours later, like I've clocked it now. 5 hours
Yeah.
later, I'm gonna have a mast cell reaction and I have to just ride it out and then it gets better. But this is gonna go on for another 2 months. And we planned it for my weekends so I can have mast cell reactions on my weekends. Well, now that means that I'm missing out on being able to do social things sometimes because I feel like crap when the mast cell
Mhm.
reaction happens.
Right.
So much math all the
Yes.
time.
Or the rest that you would normally take on your weekends because your weekends are slightly shifted too, because you
Yes.
do Thursday's your
I
Friday,
yes.
but that rest is not restorative to allow you to do what you need to do. That rest is resting from the bad thing or the thing that you're trying to make it better long term. And people don't have to think about that either. I have to plan what the rest is for because the rest isn't for my body battery. It's
Yeah.
for the reaction I had,
Yes.
which depleted when I started at negative. And
Yep.
if I rest, I'm going to get back up to 0.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. Full body battery, like, it's rare. I
I
don't really
really,
I know.
I don't either. I remember when I got a Garmin and I was like, this is going to be really helpful. It takes a little while for that body battery to calibrate and find your patterns and everything. And then I was like, wow, I'm at a 5 a lot on the Garmin body battery. It doesn't go under 5. I never, it was like, that's the lowest that it used to go. I don't know if it's changed now, but I was always like, why can't I get over this? But it just doesn't, I don't even know where I was, but trying to explain to my kids, especially about spoon theory or energy or mitochondria, like they both make jokes about being the powerhouse of the cell. If they went into jail, they would change their name to mitochondria so they could be the powerhouse of the jail cell. Um, these are my children, but trying to explain like my cells can't fully charge. It's like that
Yeah.
old iPod that you have that will plug it in for 20 hours and you'll get to 10% and it's hot.
Yeah, it's, like, gonna melt down.
Like, don't lay it on your sheet because it's gonna start a fire.
Ugh.
That's how my body operates, and that's where I do get into these resentful spirals of Katrina and I were talking before we started because I had to take my meds, and and I'm just propped up on a few stimulants so that I can be productive for a certain period of the day and keep my job. I'm not enjoying stuff, and that's really hard. Also really hard to realize.
It's absolutely hard to realize, and I have noticed since my first concussion, which was March 2023, that I'm basically able to work, but when I try to get back to my former, like, socializing level, I just can't do it, and the weeks that I try, I always crash. And I guess I'm using crash in a different way than it might look for some people, but for me, that looks like a migraine and no energy, and I can't even think of what to make to eat, so I'm not eating that well, you know? So,
Yes.
I recently tried doing a walk with a friend on a Friday and then having a Zoom in the evening and then another Zoom in the morning the next day, and by the time that Zoom was over, I was toast, and I was supposed to do something in the evening as well, and I couldn't do that, which was a date with my partner,
Oh,
which really sucked,
yeah.
really sucked. So I'm like, "Oh, I had been feeling better, but that was feeling better to manage my life of I live alone, so I do all the chores, I do all the shopping, I do all the everything, and I have my business.
Right. No
So
pressure.
I'm good. I'm good for that, but anything extra, I try to throw in there, which is always fun.
Yeah, the life stuff.
The fun things, I'm not capable yet. And will I get there? Like, I'm starting to wonder now, is this my baseline forever? Or will I get more baseline back? And I've been working with a movement coach for a couple of years to try to do some vestibular stuff, some eye stuff. I always get to a certain point, I start to feel better, I do too much, and then I bonk my head again. It's not been a concussion, but it's like a freaking cycle.
I have 2 things I was gonna say. Uh, the first is, though, how much cognitive energy it takes to do things like vision therapy, because I can't remember if I told you, but I know I've said before, I started doing that weekly, completely crashed out because I have a non-impact acquired TBI from COVID neuroinflammation. So I was doing that weekly, crashed out, forgot an appointment, didn't go, got embarrassed, caught up in my shame spiral, and never went back. So I just dropped that when I desperately need it because I'm ashamed that I forgot. But they know I have a TBI and short term memory loss, and I'm sure I could call and say, "Hey, I got in a cycle and it's been a year now. Can I come back?" um, which I may well do because we've hit our first like individual deductible, so it'd be $20 ago. Um, but people don't realize I. It's the brain stuff that causes me the crash and the PEM more than physical stuff and
Mm.
emotional stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
learning how, especially I think if you are hypermobile or have Ehlers-Danlos or any sort of connective tissue stuff, which is endo not linked to connective tissue stuff? Is there a link there?
There's starting to be research that there's a link to mast cell. So I wouldn't be
Interesting.
surprised at all if there's also a link to EDS. I think it's definitely a comorbid, um, illness with mast cell, EDS, POTS, all of that.
Yeah,
There's
because
evidence now.
I had no idea until it really kicked off for me that the menstrual cycle is like there's so much histamine involved in releasing the egg, and I had no idea. I'll do another episode about that, but people don't think about how learning to move so that you don't hurt yourself when you have a different body is very taxing on the brain because
Yes.
we've held ourselves together for so long. And when you're trying to learn how to do that the correct way so that you don't impact other parts of you, it hurts, it's hard, and it's hard on your brain. Vision therapy is really hard on your brain. I did the same thing with speech therapy that I did with vision therapy. I crashed out, I had the brain burn, and I didn't go back, and I'm really embarrassed. And it's all stuff that I really need. But again, if you're trying to rest after doing those things, that have made you tired. You're resting for them, you're not resting for you, and then you can't do the social stuff, which is the life stuff that's fulfilling
And
and
you know what also?
energizing.
Yes, it's like that's the stuff that, fills the well or whatever.
Right.
I also realized that I can't be investigating or trying to understand more about what's going on for me physically and have a social life.
Well, shit,
I
you're
have to
right.
choose. I have to choose. So I'm in a season right now where I am prioritizing doing medical stuff. So I'm doing this antiviral. I have 2 ultrasounds coming up next week. Then I have 2 MRIs coming up not too long after that, and then I have another ultrasound coming up. There's not gonna be a lot that I'm gonna be able to do extra socializing wise,
Yeah.
and this is actually the time of year when it would be better for me to be socializing because the weather is
Mhm.
better, but it's also when airborne virus is lower, so I've had to make the decision.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go be in all of these medical spaces right now because less risky, but that
And they're
also
exhausting
means
too.
100. I've also realized I can't plan social stuff the weekends that I have those
Mhm.
big appointments. Like,
Yeah.
I have to get up and be a human in front of people by 7:45 on Friday. No, I'm gonna wanna come home and not see the world for many hours after that.
Yeah. And
I
then
just yeah.
continuing to bonk. I bonk
Mhm.
all the time, and
Mhm.
now I think it's our interoception, isn't it?
Yeah, what happens when you have a concussion is that well, I think it's both interoception and proprioception.
Uh-huh.
You don't know where you are in space so well anymore, and also if you I guess maybe I'm saying this might not be true for everybody, but what I've noticed for myself is that if I am more stressed out or I've had a worse maybe I've had a lot of mast cell reactions lately or a lot of emotions
Mhm.
lately, I am much more likely to bonk my head.
Yeah.
And because I stop remembering to, like, go slowly and take my time, I start getting into that rushing mode, and then it inevitably happens.
Yes. But again, that's extra energy.
Yes,
Just
to
try to remember to
constantly
go
think.
slow.
Yes,
Don't bonk your head. That's cognitive energy that could be going to the good stuff, the
right,
socializing stuff, but your
right.
brain's having to use it to remind you not to bonk it. And it's just really noticing how much goes into just being upright is really difficult.
You know, something that I feel like I wanna say to people who are listening is that I'm I'm lucky and I'm privileged that I had already started this business before
Yeah,
things got really hard for me. Um, it is not easy to start a business. It's not. And I'm also lucky in that I just happen to have a skill and a certification that people
yeah,
are looking for. So I I just want to caution people that if they're listening and they're like, okay, so I'm going to start a business. I'm not trying to like stop you from doing that, but just know that it is true that it's difficult to get a business off the ground. There's a
yeah,
lot of things you have to do to get it unless you just, get lucky and you hit it right at the right time with something that people want and they're clamoring for it, you
yeah.
know?
Or you
Uh,
know people.
or people who can help you get the things in
Mm,
place that you need exactly. So, yeah, I feel like I need to name that I have those things and that I've been doing this job for so long now, been an educator for 25 years, and I've been doing the particular Orton Gillingham tutoring for 8 now, I think. Like, the ball's rolling at this
Yeah.
point, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so grateful for that. The other thing that Beth and I were laughing about before we started recording is that well, we were laughing about it, but it's not actually that funny, is that we're both people who have tons of ideas and wanna be doing
So
tons of
much.
things, and maybe in our early days when we were still, like, high masking, neurodivergent wise and people pleasing, all the things, right? Like, we were just, like, operating in that, like, "I can
Mhm.
do everything, and I'm everything to everybody," and blah, blah, blah. The crash had not come yet. Like, my brain still wants to be there. I have a
So
million
much.
ideas, you know? I am having this business, and I have a fellowship, a writing fellowship, so I am doing
That you
writing.
have more than that. You
I do so many things,
do
it's
so
so
many things, and they're all so fabulous.
yeah,
But yes, I would like to do more.
I yes, I am in so much grief. I'm in so much grief right now that I
Yeah.
can't I just have to figure out well, you know, what has evolved for me is that I am very, structured in my time. So it's like I see students here, I do writing here, you know? And then I have rebellious moments where I just wanna run away from everything.
Well, I have a Kathleen thinks I have, pathological demand avoidance out of resentment, and I do. I'm just starting to recognize that I'll go a whole last day without drinking water because 'cause I'm pissed off that I have to drink water because of my POTS,
Yeah.
and then I'll feel like absolute death. Um, I will wait until 2 p.m. to take my meds and then be like, "Why can't I sleep? Bitch, you took Vyvanse at 2."
Yeah.
Um, and it's such a head fuck because they're
Mhm.
all things designed to make me feel better.
Yes.
But I'm so mad about them, and it's really
Yes.
childish. That's a big judgment. It makes me feel like I'm being childish. It's grief. I get that. But, when you were talking about getting into that habit of rushing, and if I feel like my whole life I'm living on a hamster wheel of just doing the same shit, but quickly, quickly, quickly. I'm learning a lot about myself right now, and we're recording this, like, 3 days after me kind of really getting external confirmation that I am actually on the spectrum at 49. And so I'm in this whirlwind of my whole life making sense, but I'm also full of rage and grief. And there's a lot going on in my head and my heart. Um, so I am still in that, I'm still masking, I'm still people pleasing, but I'm aware. And the first step is admitting you have a problem, right? Um, But because I do operate from a place of adrenaline most of the time, which I think is another neurodivergent thing because I need the pressure to get started,
Yeah.
right? And then I
Yeah.
live in a house with a bunch of neurodivergents. I don't think there's one neurotypical person in my house now. I really don't. And I'm the insomniac type and everybody else is comatose. So I can't be late. I can't stand other people being late. It's a real thing. So my feet hit the floor and I'm trying to wake every motherfucker up in this house and start work at 7.
Oof.
But I also have all of this I'm gonna get in trouble fear, so I'm like, if I log in at 7:01, they're gonna fire me. It doesn't matter that I am an excellent worker, that I even just said that, like, with pride in our capitalist health. I am a good little cog in the wheel. Um, but I really had to have a real conversation with everybody in the house because, again, I have no internal cues, so I realized I'm burnt out. I also learned that I am a slow, poor metabolizer of epinephrine, norepinephrine, and adrenaline. I have a genetic mutation that means that it lingers in my system. And so if I start the day in an adrenaline rush, I'm fucked for the rest of the day because I just crashed so hard. Um, and it's really, really hard to explain that to an 8-year-old or a 16-year-old or a 47-year-old sometimes, when they don't experience it. And I can't really talk about that in the workplace so much because you end up people look at you like, Saul Goodman's brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I related so much to
I
that
related to him
character.
so much. What was his name? I've completely
Oh,
forgotten.
I don't remember, but Michael Keane played
Michael
it?
Keane. Yes. I have to
Yeah.
look.
Wow,
Chuck McGill.
Chuck.
Chuck Chuck became a shut-in, and it
Mm,
says on the summary, "Due to a psychosomatic electromagnetic allergy."
right,
Psychosomatic.
psychosomatic. Mhm.
That was so hard. God, do you remember the episode where Slippin' Jimmy had his batteries in his he snuck them in Chuck's
Yes.
oh, R.I.P. Chuck. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yes.
Um, but I
Oh,
really understood Chuck. But if you mention this outside of circles of people who understand it, they treat you like Chuck McGill.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's why I'm afraid of ever having to be in person again for
I couldn't.
multiple reasons,
Yeah.
right? It's
I should
not just
mm,
the I wear a mask
yeah.
and I want you to wear a mask. It's what do you mean you can't be around fragrance? What do you mean? What do you mean you can't well, and since 2020, the like, we spray everything down with
Mhm.
antibacterial whatever that also has smell or hand sanitizer all has to have smell for some reason. And then people can't smell anymore because they've caught COVID so many times. It's just like this
Yeah.
the whole Yankee Candle thing, like the
Yeah.
reviews tank when everyone's got COVID.
Mhm.
I just ooh, I wish for one 5-minute stretch of time, everybody could feel what it's like.
I say that a lot. I don't want anybody to be sick. I would love to be able to have, an experience,
Yes.
a day in the life of Beth. And I think about how I used to, like, adorn myself in scents
Same.
and feel like shit, and then be like, "I don't know
Same.
why I feel so headachy and foggy, but
Yeah.
I smell like patchouli, and it's very nice."
Exactly.
Um, and I miss that. I do still occasionally have a candle moment, but it's brief, and then after it's over, I have to, like, open the doors and
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
So,
wouldn't be able to go back. I would not be able to when I worked in Austin and I worked at UT, and we lived not in Austin, but in, like, a suburb 15, 20 miles north. There were days where my commute would be a total of 4 hours a day, sometimes more because of the traffic.
yeah.
So I would leave at 5 in the morning to start at 7 so that I could leave there an hour early, but it would still take me an hour and a half sometimes, or I wouldn't get it.
Other
I
people were
never
having the same idea of getting up early to try to
Yes.
beat the traffic,
Yeah.
and then it just
Yeah.
more people were on the road.
Right. Because Austin was never supposed to be as big as it is. The infrastructure is not there. But I didn't see my family. I didn't see the kids. If anything, I've said this before, but if anything, working from home because of the pandemic starting has given me so much time with my family. But I know now I can't drive. There's no way I would be able to sit in a car and commute like that. And I do get scared. I get scared that suddenly one day they're going to be like, actually, we want everyone within a certain distance of the office. Or actually, we're not going to do this anymore. Or that I'm going to have to find something in person and adhere to. that's probably when I would reach the terrified state of thinking, "I'm gonna have to do something for myself here that's not." And interestingly, in a very, I think, neurodivergent avoidant way, it's just the paperwork to set up, like, the LLC, which Colorado makes it really easy, apparently.
Yeah, I had to close my business in Vermont and reopen it here, and I literally don't even remember because it was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the website is helpful. I also want to try to expand my business to try to hire people who are like you and I, who need that remote work.
Yeah.
I would like to create jobs as they
Mhm.
talk about when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So it's not just that I wanna build more wealth for myself, if that's possible, but
Although some security, I don't, you know,
well, yeah, I don't have it right
this
now.
the
I have
safety
nothing. I have
the I
nothing.
know. I shared something last night. There was an astrologer did a thing about having an 8th house sun, and I have an 8th house sun, and that when you get into a negative head space, you go more into a 2nd house sun and you start trying to stockpile wealth and stuff like that. And I was like, "That's hilarious because I don't have any of that. I don't have the security of any of it." And I think about how peaceful it would be. I don't want tons. I just want enough to be like, "Oh, yeah, I can pick that refill up whenever I want it." I don't have to wait for the HSA card that I am also very lucky to have because of my job. Um, I don't have to wait for the HSA to fill back up to go get my meds.
Right, and there's so many levels of that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanna be able to help more students and also help other people
Mhm.
be able to have some income that they don't have to go out and work in person to
Yeah.
do. So,
How did you mm, I'm gonna preface this. So we have been pacing buddies for a damn long time now. We started that
it's gonna
2
be
years ago.
3 years,
It's gonna be
3
3
years in
years in July.
July? I think s
That's so cool. That's so cute. Isn't that sweet?
It is. Like,
That's so sweet.
we keep it going.
And it was pure desperation. I have been a little lax lately, but I'm giving myself a break because
But you know
actually
what?
it's just been
I'm
really
just gonna
bad.
say for Beth that when Beth doesn't mark something in the sheet, she usually checks in by text. So, like, we're still checking in, right?
Yeah,
And I
we
think
are.
vice versa. We're still checking
Yeah,
in
we are.
almost every day. It just
Yeah,
and I just like, I don't care. Have I said that to you? I don't care if you're not in there every day.
thank you. Same for you. I do wanna do it for myself, but it's one of those things where I put too much pressure on myself. But it's been so helpful. I'm just curious how you I feel like I can't stop long enough to think about how I'm gonna structure my time. So, how have you been able to do that for yourself?
Well,
And
yeah.
be disciplined enough to mostly stick with it because you do
Well,
a far better job than I do.
uh,
You laugh, but you do
so
better than a lot of people do.
it's helpful that I literally have to show up for my appointments with my students.
Mhm,
There's no way around that. And I have that same feeling in my body and in my mind of if I'm not there within 2 minutes, that family is gonna fire me.
mhm.
I better
I
be on
hate
time.
hate it.
That's not gonna happen.
No.
I've literally never had anyone fire me. We only stop because schedules don't work or it's not working out with the student or like 11 years. Like, I'm saying this out loud so I hear myself say it, and then maybe I'll listen to the podcast later and I'll hear myself say it again. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not in trouble.
you're not in trouble.
I'm not in trouble. But so that helps. I can't do my work the next time with the student unless I do my prep. So there's that, like, pressure to like, I have to get the prep done. Now let me tell you, with this TBI nonsense, there have been times where I thought I prepped the student and I show up to the lesson and I literally have not. And so I'm in the background, I give them something to do and I'm in the background like frantically prepping their lesson.
Yeah.
No one is the wiser unless now they listen to the podcast.
This is very popular with dyslexic, teens.
I think that they would be relieved to know that sometimes I mess up like that. I think there have been a couple of times where I've actually said to the student, like, "Wow, you know how
Yeah.
my brain's been having a hard time. I need to give you something to do. I'm gonna get the" they're
That
so,
would
like,
make me feel better.
not fussed. Yeah, they're like, "Whatever. I'll do what you're asking me to do." Um, Now it gets trickier with my creative work. So it's like the universe is trying to help me out by helping me get this fellowship. So I have a fellowship with Boyd's Mills, a storyteller fellowship for the next 2 years. I'm gonna have a mentor. I get to take classes at Boyd's Mills, because I'm an aspiring picture book writer. I'm also working on a memoir that I've been working on for 15 years. So anyone out there who's like, "I've been working on this book for so long and I'm still" like, I'm there with you. I've been working on this forever and it's still nowhere near done.
Mm.
Um, I've been aspiring to be a picture book author on and off since 2004, okay? And it's hard, and every year it gets harder to break in because
Yeah.
of all the things happening in the world, and I still haven't given up yet. But the last few years, it was really hard to get myself to show up to work on it. I would have it in my calendar, and I would just ignore it. So, the fellowship is giving me some structure to help me be like, "I can't waste this time that I
Yeah.
have in this fellowship. I'm gonna show up for myself." I got the brilliant idea, but it really wasn't from my own brain. It was more because Lissy keeps poking at me to get Focus Mate
Lissy
that I thought
Donovan at LissyDonovan.com or
LissyDonovan.com.
at Lissy dot is it
How
Lissy
many
dot
times have I
Donovan?
mentioned Lissy
I
today?
do it every fucking episode. People are
I
gonna be
know.
like, "Who is this person?"
People need to know,
I
though.
think every fucking episode I've been like, "My friend Lissy has great ideas. I got on here today with you," and I was like, "Fucking Lissy cut her hair again, and look at I cut my hair again. I can't have." Lissy's like, "I'm gonna buy you a feather razor," and I'm like, "I have a dermaplane. I can do it." Anyway, Lissy Donovan.
So, I thought, wouldn't it be cool, since I have paid Zoom, to offer a drop-in writing space on Tuesdays when I already have blocked it out in my calendar as my writing time,
Uh-huh.
so that I'm forced to turn on that Zoom room for everyone else, and then that means that I'm there and I'm accountable to somebody else.
Mhm.
So that was one way that I did that. Another friend of mine, a number of months ago was like, "Should we have, like, a co-working time?" I was like, "Yeah," because 'cause we're both self-employed. They're a therapist. So we get on Tuesdays on a co-working. So now I'm like, co-working is how I get shit done. If I
I was
don't
gonna
have something to show up for, I will absolutely be like, "I don't feel like it." It's hard.
It
It's
is.
hard, and I've had, like, almost 70 rejections now. Like, I'm gonna keep trying, but damn, it's hard.
I was gonna ask you though, because I keep thinking about doing co-working space type stuff too. And I would love to actually have like a co-working writing thing with you because I
Yeah.
want to start writing again. I miss it so much. I can't fucking read a print document, which thank you for differentiating that the other day when we were talking because you've been reading more again.
Yes, I
And
was not able to read print for a very long time.
I was giving myself so much shit until you just very casually mentioned print versus digital. It's the same for me. Reading print is incredibly different for me than reading stuff on a screen, reading on my phone. Audiobook is still a little hard. Ironically, listening to podcasts is still a little hard. Better if I can watch. If
Yeah,
I
there's
can
something
watch
different
Good
about it.
Hang or Handsome, I
Mhm.
can that's better, and that's why I would love to put more of these up on YouTube, but I have to edit them, and then that cognitive. But, I so I did one of Katrina's dreaming workshops, one of the social justice dreaming workshops, and I cannot recommend enough, and this is not like a paid sponsorship where we're trying to do cahoots. It's legitimately it was so good for me because I think when you're chronically ill, you get out of the habit of trusting your instincts
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel safe to trust your instincts because you're in a body that feels threatening. And then if you add neurodivergence onto that and have trouble recognizing your own cues, it's really hard. And that few weeks just made me slow down a little bit. And I have been using some of the grounding techniques and the dreaming techniques that you taught us to either call in dreams to help me process stuff I'm doing in therapy. I've used it to contact, I'm doing internal family systems. So I've used the tapping to try to connect with those parts in my sleep to understand what they're afraid of or what they need from me to be able to make some progress with things. But, and also to tap into talking to ancestors, um, or dream about making out with Pedro.
Which is what I use it for.
Yeah, but or I even use it sometimes to say, "This is what I'd like tonight, but if I just need sleep, give me some real good ass sleep and I will get it." But a few nights ago, I was like, "You know what? I think I'd like to write again and give me some ideas for some stories." And I got this great, like, anthology idea, and I watched it like it was a TV show in my dream, and Katrina knows that I can kinda lucid dream. So it's usually like I think it's just because I'm a shitty sleeper, but I just was, like, watching it
Mm.
from inside my dream, but seeing that I was in the dream watching it. But I'm really excited about it, and I've started jotting down things about my characters, and it's a little romance. It's a little cutie romance, but I there's a lot of books about there's a lot of memoirs of chronic illness. There's a lot of this is what I've done with chronic illness, but I there's not a lot of like there's no heated rivalry where they're sick.
Uh, no, I've started wondering if I wanna try to tackle, some kind of romance with a non-binary character or
My
5.
I have a she her and a they them and the they them is fucking hot. They're an artist.
You saw them in your dream.
I saw them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just for listeners who don't know what the tapping thing is, just
Yeah.
to differentiate it from EFT tapping, which is a whole other thing. If you want to bring a particular type of dream, for instance, you want to see ancestors or you want to have a date with Pedro Pascal, which is what I have done in the past, or yeah, communicate with your ancestors. Third eye, which is like above your eyebrows, maybe a couple inches, you just tap that, I don't know, 15 times, whatever feels right. And you say while you're doing that, tonight I will dream. When I dream, I'll dream about XYZ. And when I wake up, I'll remember the dream. And, it works for a lot of people. It doesn't probably work for everybody, but it works for a lot of people. And it's not always 100% correlation of on this night, you're going to have that dream. It might happen a few days later. Some people, it's even like a week, can be longer, but it does work. I've used it many times now.
Yeah.
Um,
It also just helps
it's
me
such
fall
a
asleep if I can't go to sleep
Mhm.
because something about it, I just
Yeah, that point, that acupuncture point is like a relaxing point, I
mhm.
believe.
I'll be like, "No, I wanna have the dream," and then I fall
And
asleep.
then you're out. I gotta remember that. Last night I was awake for an hour and a half before I could
Do
fall
you get
asleep.
so angry
It
when you
makes me
can't sleep?
Yeah, it makes me really mad, and I went to bed early knowing that we were gonna record, and then I fucking laid there for an hour and a half. And there's things I know to try. I did lay on my acupressure mat. I don't know, I get in a weird there's so many things I know to do, and I get in a weird headspace when I can't fall asleep where I don't remember any of it, and I just lay there and I breathe, and I'm like, "Eventually, I'll fall asleep." I don't know what else, or maybe I should just turn on the light because 'cause I'm not tired
Yeah.
yet, but then I might get down a rabbit hole on my phone or read a book or
You
something,
can't
and
pick the phone up. You
no,
can't pick up the
you
phone.
can't do it.
But this
So,
always happens to me when I make a concerted effort to get to bed early and
100%.
have a good night's sleep.
I mean, maybe we should just fucking stop with that then,
Maybe.
because it just doesn't work.
No,
Maybe we'd be more well rested if we just went to bed when we usually go to bed.
maybe. I don't know. It's really it makes me furious. And then I don't go to sleep because I'm in such a bad
Yeah.
headspin of it. But I have the acupressure mat under the bed. Yeah, I've got my ceiling fans on a remote so I can turn the light on. I could put my green glasses on and stare at the light on this. Do I do any of this? No, I lay there and I toss and turn and I bitch to Tempo. And she sighs at me because she's so sick of it because just go to sleep.
Yeah, just lie down and sleep. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
I knew
either.
for me last night it was the medicine.
Yeah.
My heart started to pound. I wasn't gonna be able to fall asleep through that.
Um, yeah, just the work that even goes into trying to get sleep pisses me off.
Yep.
You I just want to give you a chance to tell everyone the things that you are doing so that they can follow your different endeavors. And then
Yeah,
everybody's going to be like, I thought they said that they really try to
I know.
rein it in.
Yeah,
I love you so
so rein
much.
it in for me, I guess is what I'm saying.
It's
I would
different for
I would
everyone.
be doing, I don't
Let's
know,
recognize. Yeah.
70-hour weeks or something if I didn't I don't know. Well, so I have my tutoring business, and I
Yes.
am looking for some new students if anyone's hearing this. KatrinaDreamerTutoring.com, and that is Orton Gillingham tutoring. I am certified at the associate level.
What is Orton Gillingham
Orton
tutoring?
Gillingham is a particular way of teaching uh, students how to read that is based in explicit instruction in phonics, like
Okay.
the parts of words. And it's yeah, it's like the gold standard
Gotcha.
for dyslexia instruction.
Okay.
And so that's the main thing I'm doing. I also have a web comic I'm writing
So good.
called Chaotic Good and the Banned Bookmobile that is illustrated by my friend Sarah Steinberg.
It was also so good.
Comes out every couple weeks. There's chronic illness blips on both of our parts, but yeah, we have a regular readership now. Whenever I drop the comic, there's about 100 people that read it
I
within a
love
few
that.
days. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Um, I have been teaching social justice dreaming classes through the Dream Portal, and I'm taking a break this summer so I can get all the things done I was talking about, all of my medical
Yeah.
stuff. uh, and might be pivoting it to something that I'm brewing on, or it might come back in the fall. So TBD on that. But I do want to do more with social justice, activism, and dreaming and intuitive
Yeah.
practices.
Which I do
And
wanna interrupt and just
yeah,
say, I found particularly helpful because I have limited capacity for everything, but I wanna be so much more involved, and being able to understand that it's okay to approach doing social justice work in a way that is actually valuable for me to be able to contribute instead of just making myself feel like shit because I'm trying to do all these things that I'm not capable of and not actually helping was one of the best takeaways from it.
Mm,
That I could take time to understand myself within what I'm capable of and what my strengths are was so valuable.
I'm so glad. That is, like, a big part of why I wanted to do
Mhm,
it. And again, I'm always trying to think of ways to help people who are chronically ill and disabled be able to plug into things because we all end up so isolated. Um, and what am I forgetting? I mean, I do have another website because of course I do, katrinadreamer.com, where you
yeah,
can work with me, um, to have an energy healing or do dream work.
again,
So
so good. I have a disco in my tummy of ancestors.
you do. I'm Beth did not remember many of her dreams and also had not
Oh, you're right.
connected with ancestors and dreams before that you knew of,
Well, that we're
before class
safe
that were safe.
because my
Right,
mom kept trying to get me to go
that's
through
right.
that basement door,
Right,
and I had to tell my mom not to come to my dreams anymore. Naughty, naughty, and that made me not wanna engage, and I don't know why I was able to connect that I could say, "No, you're not invited," but I didn't think about opening the invitation to the right people.
right. Yeah. So, I think that's everything, and then I am trying to write books that maybe someday will get published. I hate the gatekeepiness of it all, and
Yeah.
I took a class about starting my own publishing house because I have the time and the money for that.
I was just right, and the energy. I was just about to
Yeah.
say, if anyone listening is an editor and chronically ill or disabled, can we not all just start our own
I
sickos
mean,
publishing?
I'm getting close. The rejection that I got yesterday said that the picture book that I wrote about a kid with chronic illness was too heavy. And I was like, "You know what? It's realistic. I am not going to put out a book that doesn't show what it's actually like. Sorry."
Yeah.
But
Like,
I'm so grumpy about that.
yeah.
I'm not gonna make it I don't know. I am starting to wonder if the kind of stories that I wanna tell just are not commercially viable in the ways that agents and editors want. Like, I wanna have my protagonist be non-binary, but there's a chilling effect happening right now. The Big 5 have said outright, like, they're not prioritizing LGBTQ stories now. So, fun to
So,
be in that
yeah,
crew and trying to get stories out there about that right now.
it makes me wanna start big gay publishing house.
I know. It'd be amazing to call it that too. Well,
Big big gay Bethy's publishing bonanza.
oh my gosh. I
Bethy's
mean,
Pan
goodness.
Publishing.
Say that one more time?
Bethy's Pan Publishing.
Yes. Yes. I like this. Because we need more projects, we should definitely get on that. So yeah, that's me. That's what I'm that's what I'm
I
doing
like
right
you.
now.
And see, then the other thing is, like, we've been sitting here for an hour and 18 minutes, and I'm like, "I wanna do this, and I wanna do that." I've got so many more things I wanna do.
But yeah, like, the things I'm doing externally in the world are only, like, a portion of the things that I have in my brain that I wanna be doing.
Do you have better ideas for yourself or other people?
For me, I think.
I wish
Like, I have a list of story ideas that's I don't have a problem coming up with ideas for books.
I can't come up with ideas for myself as easily as I do for other people, and maybe that's something I can start working on in dreams.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Where can people find you on the socials?
Katrina Dreamer on Instagram and Blue Sky. Not on really anything else anymore. And I'm on Threads, still Katrina Dreamer. I got on Upscrolled, but I don't really go there.
What is that?
It's another like TikTok alternative. I got off TikTok and
All
yes,
right,
I
I
will.
have 3 questions for you. And the first one is, what do you wish the general public knew more about chronic illness or disability?
I wish more people understood invisible illness. If you looked at me just walking down the street, besides me having a mask on, you probably wouldn't know
Yeah.
that I have any of the things going on that I have. You can't know that I have chronic
Mhm.
concussion symptoms. You can't know I have endo. You can't know that I have migraine or mast cell or dysautonomia, probably have hypermobility, but it hasn't been diagnosed. You don't know I'm neurodivergent. Well, you might be able to tell I'm neurodivergent from what I wear, but, uh, damn, I just wish that there was some way of it being more visible because I've had people in my life say things to me like, "It can't be that bad. You're overreacting. It's not real. I've never heard of that before."
Yeah.
And that wears you down.
Yeah, it
Um,
does.
yeah, and just again, I think just harkening back to the mental math we talked about, like, it is every single day from the minute I wake up, I am calibrating and trying to figure out how do I feel that day? What can I do? Can I
Yeah.
actually do my laundry and get my groceries and make 2 meals and have a Zoom with someone? Can I do that today? Or am I gonna totally crash?
Yeah. Yeah. Has your theme song changed?
It was, the Florence and the Machine song, I think.
Mhm.
No, I knew we were recording today, and I did not think of a new one. So I
You don't
guess
have to have a new
I have
one.
I have to stick with what I've got 'cause I don't think I'm gonna be able to think of a new one
If
in
something
this
pops up, you
moment.
can tell me and I can
Okay,
put it in there, but
put it on the
I
list,
just
yeah.
think it's interesting to see because some people's have changed over time
Yeah.
as things have evolved. Um,
Everybody Scream? I mean, I don't know if you have that on the list yet, but
no, I don't actually.
that one, uh I was listening to that album on repeat after it came out until the Heated Rivalry, stuff came out, and then now I've been listening to that. There's somebody made, like, a soundtrack
Yeah, I think we might be
playlist.
listening to the same playlist because
Well,
I've been
yeah,
listening to it
I've
constantly.
made my own. This is how neurodivergent I am. I've made my own that's for when I'm showering and getting ready in the morning. I've picked
I
my
also
favorite
have a I also have a shower playlist.
and so it was Florence's new album from, Halloween or whenever it came
Mhm.
out until the Heated Rivalry stuff happened. Now I'm on the Heated Rivalry kick, and that doesn't show signs of fading yet.
No, no.
And, yeah, Everybody's Scream is it's just cathartic to listen to it, and yeah.
I have been scared to listen to it because I'm going to feel things.
Yeah, yeah, you are.
So I'm really having to build up my
Woo.
courage for that.
Oh my
Um, Final question, because I am
mm.
also trying to tie community into this season a lot. Who or what has helped you feel the most supported during the last 6 years? Or how has support shown up for you that's actually been supportive?
Well, it's 100% my online people. I When I left Vermont, I was leaving a not good relationship. I was super scared. It was Omicron, and it was my community had dwindled.
Mhm.
to almost nothing because most of my friends ended up being mutual friends of my ex, and they all decided that I was the bonkers one, and so I lost all of them, and thank God I had met some people through the Mast Cell Society's conference
Mm.
because we started having Zooms together while I was packing up my life, and they helped me research Airbnbs and hotels where maybe I wouldn't encounter too much fragrance and because I drove myself across country with
Are you from
harvest.
Colorado originally? Is that how you
Mhm.
ended up back?
That's why I
Okay.
wanted to come back. And then when I got here, it was those people that
Mhm.
got me through. I didn't know anyone here.
And
I
then you
knew
randomly
people
started a mask block.
and well, because I wanted more
I
friends.
know. I know.
And, of course, to get people the PPE that they needed. But, um, that's how I've made the rest of my community is through the mass block. The people that I know in person here almost exclusively are mass block people. There's a few people that I've met, uh, through, like, Lex, which is an app, or Refresh,
Mhm.
which is an app, but, um, it's it's online community, and honestly, I thought to myself, with whatever's coming with this fuel shortage stuff that's happening,
God. Yeah.
that I am extremely isolated in Aurora. I know one person in my city. All of my very, 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 very close people are scattered across the country or across Colorado, and they're not gonna be able to get to me. I'm not gonna be able to get to them.
Well, see, this is the thing, like, we've been in each other's lives daily
For
for
years.
almost 3 years, daily, and you're barely over an hour away from me,
I know.
and we still haven't been able to meet in person, and
No.
every time I think, "I'm gonna get to Denver, I'm gonna get to do it," I'm crashed out. Just
And
like,
every time I
my
think,
daughter's
"I'm gonna
birthday.
be able to drive on the freeway again."
Yeah, like, I didn't even get to go to the museum that the podcast was in, which is, like, across the street from you.
Well, no, it's not across the street from
Well,
me.
it's closer
That
than this.
museum that
When
museum
yeah, the art show.
yeah, the art show, it was 15 minutes away. I never made it there.
Yeah, I didn't
I
either.
never
I
made
didn't
it there.
even get to go see my own shit in the art show because 'cause I'm an
Yeah,
artist. I don't know if you
it's
knew that.
wild. You are.
I didn't think of myself that way until actually Katie told me that I was an artist, and I was like, "Am I? Hey, I guess I kinda huh,
You send me pictures of stuff that you make for your kids all the time. What are you talking about?
yeah." I had a photography business and a novelty cake business, and I was a clown.
I don't know these things about you, but now I need to hear the podcast about all of those
About
things.
my career history?
Yes.
That'd be a fun
I
episode.
really do wanna
I really was a
I'll feel
clown.
so alone having, like, so many different jobs in my life.
Okay. Okay, I need to plan a neurospicy career history anthology podcast where I just ask everybody to call in. Let's do that. Okay, let me hang on, and then I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna
Idea
send it
being written
here.
down.
Okay, I'm gonna find the Google Voice number. Hang on, because I always forget it. I have something called the long haul line. The number is 720-432-9368. That's 720-432-9368. Uh, you can text or leave a message like voicemail. Tell us some of your wild past jobs, especially if you're neurodivergent. I would love to hear. And I will put together an episode of
Yeah.
all of the wild, amazing things that we have all done, trying to find a space for ourselves and make some money to survive.
I love this. I love this.
I love this too.
Excited.
I also love you. Thank you for coming on this morning and talking with me. And I really appreciate you for keeping me as sane as I am. You're a big contributor.
Same, friend. I love you. I am so grateful for you and the ways that you reflect back to me things about myself that I don't see. You tell me, you're like, "This and this and this," in your voice notes, and I'm like, "Oh my god, yep, you're right about that."
I think we're both good at giving each other permission for things that we probably know the other one doesn't wanna have permission to think about or do.
Ugh. Yeah, yeah,
That's
that's
good friendship.
very
And
true.
also, saying what you said, I really wish I could build a compound and we
Uh,
have our
yeah,
pets and we grow food.
yes, exactly. I want that so badly.
I don't have any money for it. Maybe
It's
when I
hard.
start Bethy's big gay pan publishing house.
Yes, we'll become a publishing empire together. I like this
Me too.
idea.
Just add it to the list of ideas.
Huh.
All right. Go have a good rest of your Saturday.
Okay. Thank
I'm
you
gonna hit
for
stop.
chatting.
Thank you too.
Thank you for tuning in to A Friend for the Long Haul. I want to remind listeners that while our conversations may touch on medical topics, I'm not a medical professional and neither are most of our guests. The content provided here is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Any advice or information shared should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider regarding any medical concerns or conditions. Additionally, I'm committed to transparency in advertising. Any advertisements or sponsored content featured in these episodes will be clearly disclosed as such. Lastly, I acknowledge that the recording of this podcast takes place on the traditional lands of the Arapaho, the Cheyenne, the Sioux, and the Ute peoples. Again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more episodes of A Friend for the Long Haul.